Chapter 1. The text that changed everything. I still remember the exact moment my world shattered. It was a Thursday evening, and I had been planning this night for months. For years. That's how long Elena and I had been together. For years of building something I thought was unbreakable. I had rearranged my entire life around her. Turned down a job offer in New York because she didn't want to leave the city. Spent my savings on the apartment she loved. Worked overtime to fund the lifestyle she dreamed about. Tonight was supposed to be perfect. Our anniversary. I left work early, something I never did. The reservation at Lucia's, the Italian restaurant where we had our first date, was confirmed for 7:30. The engagement ring was burning a hole in my jacket pocket. A princess-cut diamond. Exactly what she'd pointed out in a magazine 6 months ago. I was going to ask her to marry me. At 5:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. Elena. Babe, I'm so sorry. Huge project dropped on my desk. Have to work late tonight. Can we reschedule? Love you. I stared at the message, disappointment settling in my chest like a stone. But I understood. Elena was ambitious. It was one of the things I loved about her. Her career mattered. It's fine, I texted back. Work hard. I'll see you at home. Love you too. I canceled the reservation. I put the ring back in my drawer. I ordered Chinese takeout and settled on the couch, telling myself we'd celebrate another night. Then Kevin called. Marcus. His voice was strange. Tight. Where are you right now? Home. Elena's working late. Why? Silence. The kind of silence that makes your stomach drop. Kevin, what's going on? I'm downtown, at the Velvet Room. He paused. Marcus, I just saw Elena. The words didn't make sense at first. That's impossible. She's at the office. She's not, man. She's here. And she's not alone. My heart started pounding. What do you mean? She's with some guy. They look close. Really close. I was already grabbing my keys. Send me the address. The drive took 12 minutes. 12 minutes of my hands shaking on the steering wheel. 12 minutes of telling myself there had to be an explanation. I parked across the street from the Velvet Room, one of those upscale bars where cocktails cost $20 and everyone looked like they belonged in a magazine. And then I saw her, through the window in a booth near the back. Elena. My Elena. She was wearing the red dress I bought her for her birthday. Her hair was down the way she knew I loved it. She was laughing, really laughing. Her head thrown back, her hand resting on the chest of a man I'd never seen before. He was handsome, older, expensive suit, the kind of confident that comes from money. I watched as he leaned in and whispered something in her ear. I watched as she blushed and playfully pushed him away. I watched as his hand found her waist and she didn't move it. She looked happier than I'd seen her in months. My phone buzzed. Kevin. Kevin, I took a photo. Just in case. I'm sorry, brother. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The engagement ring was still in my jacket pocket. I had been planning to spend the rest of my life with this woman. And she was here, touching another man, lying to my face about working late. Too busy for me, but not for him. I don't know how long I stood there. Long enough for the city lights to blur through the tears I refused to let fall. Long enough for the denial to crack and the truth to seep through like poison. Everything I thought I knew was a lie. I turned around and walked back to my car. My hands were steady now, numb. Tomorrow I would confront her. Tomorrow I would demand answers. But tonight, I sat in my car and let the silence swallow me whole. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this story, make sure to subscribe and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Your support helps bring more chapters and stories to life. Chapter 2. Too busy for me, but not for him. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch, staring at the door, waiting for Elena to come home. She walked in at 11:43 p.m., heels in her hand, humming softly to herself. Hey, babe, she said, dropping her bag on the counter. You're still up. I watched her, really watched her. The careful way she avoided my eyes, the slight flush still on her cheeks, the way she smelled like expensive cologne that wasn't mine. How was work? I asked. Exhausting. She sighed dramatically, pulling her hair into a ponytail. You wouldn't believe the day I had. Johnson dumped this entire presentation on me last minute. I barely had time to breathe. The first of many. That sounds rough, I said carefully. You should have texted. I would have brought you dinner. You're sweet. She walked over and kissed my forehead. I just grabbed something from the vending machine. I'm gonna shower and crash. You coming to bed? I let her go. I needed to see how far she would take this. The next morning, I woke up before her. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table. Kevin's photo pulled up on my phone. Elena walked out in her robe, yawning. Coffee. You're an angel. Elena. My voice was calm. Too calm. Where were you last night? She froze for just a second. Just long enough. I told you. Work. Try again. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? I turned my phone around and showed her the photo. Her face, clear as day. The man's hand on her waist. The intimacy that couldn't be mistaken for anything professional. The color drained from her face. Marcus. The Velvet Room, I said. You were at the Velvet Room. In the dress I bought you. With a man who isn't me. It's not what it looks like. Then explain it to me, Elena. Explain how you were too busy to have dinner with me on our anniversary, but had plenty of time to laugh and flirt with someone else. She sat down heavily, her hands trembling. His name is Derek. He's a business contact. We were discussing a potential partnership. A partnership. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Is that what we're calling it? You're being paranoid, she snapped, switching tactics. This is exactly why I didn't tell you. You get jealous over nothing. You're suffocating me, Marcus. I'm suffocating you? I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I've spent 4 years supporting you. I turned down my dream job for you. I've given you everything, and you're telling me I'm the problem. Maybe you are, she shouted. Maybe if you paid more attention to me, I wouldn't need to. She stopped, but it was too late. Wouldn't need to what? I asked quietly. Finish that sentence, Elena. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't mean it like that. How long? Marcus. How long? She looked away. A few months. It just happened. I was lonely. You were always working, always tired. Derek made me feel seen. A few months. While I was saving for a ring. While I was planning our future. She was with him. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out the velvet box. I set it on the kitchen counter between us. I was going to ask you to marry me last night, I said. Elena's sob caught in her throat. Marcus? Oh God, Marcus, I'm so sorry. Sorry you did it? Or sorry you got caught? She couldn't answer. That told me everything I needed to know. I grabbed my jacket and walked to the door. Where are you going? She cried. Marcus, please, we can work through this. I paused with my hand on the doorknob. You said I was suffocating you. Consider this me giving you space. I walked out and didn't look back. James was waiting outside in his car. He'd been parked there since I texted him at 6 a.m. You okay? He asked as I climbed in. No, I said honestly. I'm not. He didn't say anything else. Didn't say I told you so. Even though he'd warned me about Elena years ago, he just drove. I stared out the window and watched the apartment building, our apartment building, disappear in the side mirror. 4 years of my life, gone in one night. Chapter 3, The Aftermath. James's apartment became my refuge. The first 3 days blurred together in a haze of sleepless nights and cold pizza I couldn't taste. I lay on his couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of my relationship with Elena. Had there been signs? Red flags I ignored? The answer, I realized, was yes. Dozens of them. The late nights that started 6 months ago. The way she'd angle her phone away from me. The new lingerie I never saw her wear. The sudden interest in girls' nights that happened every Thursday. Thursday. The same night I caught her. My phone buzzed constantly. Elena's name lighting up the screen over and over. Elena, please answer me. I made a mistake. Elena, you can't just throw away 4 years. Elena, this is your fault too. You pushed me away. Elena, I love you. Doesn't that mean anything? Elena, fine. Be immature about this. See if I care. Elena, Marcus, please. I'm begging you. I turned my phone off. James came home from work on the third day and sat across from me. I need to tell you something, he said. And you're not going to like it. I sat up slowly. What? He rubbed his face, looking guilty. I heard rumors. A buddy of mine saw her at a hotel bar with some guy. This was back in September. I didn't want to believe it, and I didn't want to hurt you without proof. But I should have said something. September. That was 5 months ago. She'd said it had only been a few months. More lies. It's not your fault, I said, my voice hollow. I probably wouldn't have believed you anyway. Mom called that evening. News traveled fast in our family. Sweetheart, she said, her voice gentle. James told me. I'm so sorry. Thanks, Mom. I never wanted to say this while you were with her. But Marcus, I never thought she was right for you. You've been disappearing into that relationship for years. Giving and giving while she just took. I closed my eyes. I know. Loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. You deserve someone who sees your worth. Remember that. After we hung up, I let myself cry for the first time. Really cry. The ugly, heaving kind that leaves you empty. Kevin came over later with pizza and beer. He didn't ask me to talk. Just sat next to me and turned on a basketball game. For what it's worth, he said during halftime. You're better than her. Always were. Doesn't feel like it. It will. My phone buzzed again. But this time it wasn't Elena. Sophie Lynn, hey Marcus. Noticed you haven't been in the office. Just wanted to check in and make sure you're okay. No pressure to respond. Sophie, a junior architect at my firm. We'd worked together on a few projects. She was quiet, talented, and kind, the type of person who remembered everyone's coffee order. I stared at her message for a long time. Such a simple thing, just checking if I was okay. But in that moment, surrounded by the wreckage of my relationship, it felt like a lifeline. Marcus. Thanks, Sophie. Going through some personal stuff. I'll be back soon. Sophie. Take all the time you need. I'll hold down the fort. I put my phone down and looked at James. I need to get my stuff from the apartment, I said. But I can't see her. We'll go when she's at work, James said. Saturday morning. Kevin and I will help. I nodded slowly. It was time to start cutting ties. I just didn't know how hard that would be. Chapter 4. Who is Derek Sullivan? I went back to work on Monday. Walking into the office felt like entering a different world. A world where everything was normal. Where my life hadn't imploded a week ago. Marcus. My colleague Brian waved from his desk. Feeling better? Getting there. I lied. I buried myself in blueprints and project timelines, desperate for distraction. But every quiet moment, my mind wandered back to the same question. Who was Derek? During my lunch break, I did what I'd been avoiding. I opened my laptop and searched his name. Derek Sullivan. The results filled my screen. Articles, interviews, LinkedIn profiles. He was the CEO of a tech startup called Nexus Innovations. Worth millions. Featured in Forbes 30 under 33 years ago. Charming smile in every photo. And there, in the society section of a business magazine, was a picture of him at a charity gala. With his wife, Amanda Sullivan, co-founder of Nexus. They'd been married for 7 years. I stared at the screen, my blood running cold. Elena didn't just cheat on me. She got involved with a married man. She knowingly helped someone betray their spouse. Marcus. I looked up. Sophie was standing by my desk, a cup of coffee in each hand. You looked like you could use this, she said, setting one down in front of me. Thanks. I quickly minimized the browser window. You didn't have to do that. I know. She sat on the edge of my desk. But you've seemed off today. More than just sick. I hesitated. Sophie and I weren't close, not really. Just friendly colleagues who occasionally grabbed lunch together. But there was something in her eyes. Understanding. Can I ask you something personal? I said. Sure. Have you ever trusted someone completely and had them destroy you? She was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded. 2 years ago, my ex-boyfriend left me for my best friend. They'd been sneaking around for months. I found out when I walked in on them at my own birthday party. I'm sorry. It broke me for a while, she admitted. But eventually, I realized their betrayal said everything about them and nothing about me. Still hurts sometimes, though. Does it ever stop hurting? It gets quieter, she said softly. The pain doesn't disappear. It just takes up less space. Before I could respond, a commotion erupted near the lobby. Raised voices. My name. I walked over and my stomach dropped. Elena was at the reception desk arguing with security. I just need 5 minutes, she was saying. He's my boyfriend. Ex, I said, stepping forward. I'm her ex. Elena spun around, her eyes red-rimmed. Marcus, please. We need to talk. We said everything we needed to say. No, we didn't. She grabbed my arm. You just left. You didn't even give me a chance to explain. Explain what? That you've been sleeping with a married man. Her face went pale. How did you? His wife seems lovely, by the way. Very accomplished. Does she know about you? Marcus, that's not fair. Fair. I laughed bitterly. You want to talk about fair? Security stepped between us. Sir, do you want us to escort her out? I looked at Elena. Really looked at her. The woman I'd loved for 4 years. The woman I'd planned to marry. Yes, I said quietly. Please get her out of here. Marcus. Elena screamed as they led her toward the door. Marcus, you're making a mistake. You'll regret this. I turned and walked back to my desk. My hands were shaking. Sophie appeared beside me. Do you want to get some air? I nodded. We stood on the rooftop, the city sprawling beneath us. Neither of us spoke for a long time. I'm sorry you had to see that, I finally said. Don't apologize. She leaned against the railing. I'm sorry you're going through this. When we went back inside, Mr. Harrison, the senior partner, was waiting by my office. Marcus, a word. I braced myself for a lecture about bringing personal drama to work. Instead, he closed his door and said, I saw what happened. Are you all right? I will be. He studied me for a moment. I've been where you are. 30 years ago, my first wife. It nearly destroyed me. He sat down. Take whatever time you need. And when you're ready, I have a project I think you'd be perfect for. A big one. I nodded, grateful beyond words. Thank you, sir. Chapter 5. The truth comes out. 3 weeks after I left Elena, I received an unexpected message. Unknown number. Hi, Marcus. This is Rachel, Elena's sister. I know this is strange, but I really need to talk to you. It's important. Rachel Torres. I'd met her a handful of times at family events. She was younger than Elena by 2 years, quieter, always seeming uncomfortable during our interactions. I almost ignored the message, but something made me respond. Marcus, what about? Rachel. Not over text. Can we meet? Coffee? We met at a small cafe across town. Somewhere neither of us would run into Elena. Rachel was already there when I arrived, nervously tearing a napkin into pieces. Thanks for coming, she said as I sat down. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. Why are we here, Rachel? She took a deep breath. Because I can't keep lying anymore. I've been covering for Elena for over a year, and watching what she did to you, I can't stay silent. My jaw tightened. Over a year? The affair with Derek started 14 months ago. Not a few months like she told you. 14 months. The number hit me like a physical blow. 14 months. More than a year of looking into my eyes and lying. How do you know? Because I helped her hide it. Rachel's voice cracked. She would tell you she was with me when she was really with him. She'd have me pick up gifts he bought her so you wouldn't find them. I answered when you called once, pretending she was in the bathroom when she was actually at his hotel. I remembered that call. 8 months ago. I thought nothing of it. Why are you telling me this now? Tears spilled down her cheeks. Because I saw what it did to you. That night James picked you up, you looked like a ghost. And Elena? She wasn't even sorry. She was just angry she got caught. She started planning how to win you back, so she wouldn't have to move out of the apartment. Win me back. She never loved Derek. He was excitement, status. But you were stability. She wanted both. Rachel wiped her eyes. Vanessa, Elena's friend. She helped cover for her too. They'd laugh about how clueless you were. I felt sick. There's more, Rachel said quietly. Those business trips Elena took? They weren't for work. They were weekends with Derek. Vegas, Miami, Aspen. I remembered those trips. I'd driven her to the airport each time, kissed her goodbye, told her to text me when she landed. I have screenshots, Rachel said, sliding her phone across the table, of texts between them. I saved them in case, I don't know, in case I ever found the courage to do the right thing. I scrolled through the messages, the pet names, the explicit content, the jokes about poor Marcus and his cluelessness. Each word was a fresh wound. Why did you wait so long? I asked. I was scared. Elena's always controlled everything, including me. But I'm done. Rachel met my eyes. You deserved better, Marcus. You always did. I handed her phone back. Thank you for telling me. I know it wasn't easy. What are you going to do? I don't know. I stood up. But I'm done letting this define me. I drove back to James's apartment in silence. When I got there, I sat in the car for 20 minutes, unable to move. Then I called Dr. Reyes. I need to see someone, I said when she answered. A therapist. Kevin said you helped him after his divorce. I have an opening tomorrow at 3 p.m., she said warmly. Would that work? Yes. When I finally walked inside, James took one look at my face. What happened? I told him everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, his hands were clenched into fists. 14 months, he repeated. That. I know. Marcus, I'm so sorry. Don't be. I sat down heavily. I'm done being the victim. Starting tomorrow, I'm taking my life back. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I meant it. Chapter 6. Rebuilding from Ashes. Dr. Reyes's office was warm and inviting. Soft lighting, comfortable chairs, plants on every surface. So, Marcus, she said during our first session, tell me why you're here. My girlfriend of 4 years cheated on me, with a married man, for over a year. That's what happened to you. But why are you here? The question caught me off guard. What do you mean? Therapy isn't about what others did to us. It's about understanding ourselves. Why do you think this happened? And more importantly, why do you think you stayed? I didn't have an answer. Not that day. But over the following weeks, Dr. Reyes helped me excavate truths I'd buried for years. You made Elena your entire world, she observed during our 4th session. Your identity became tied to being her partner. Why? Because I loved her. Or because you were afraid of being alone? The question stung because it was true. I think, I said slowly. I ignored the red flags because facing them meant losing her. And losing her meant being nothing. And now that she's gone, are you nothing? I looked at my hands. No, I'm still here. Exactly. Dr. Reyes smiled. You're still here. Now we figure out who here is without her. Work became my anchor. Mr. Harrison called me into his office a month after my breakdown and presented an opportunity that changed everything. The Morrison Cultural Center, he said, spreading blueprints across his desk. Biggest project we've landed in a decade. I want you to lead it. I stared at him. Sir, there are architects here with way more experience. Experience isn't everything. You have vision, Marcus, and hunger. I've watched you pour yourself into your work these past few weeks. This project needs that energy. I accepted. And for the first time in months, I felt something other than pain. I felt purpose. Sophie and I started working late nights together. She was assigned to my team, and her talent was undeniable. But more than that, she made me laugh. You know, she said one night, reviewing sketches over takeout containers. When I first started here, I was terrified of you. Terrified? Why? You always seemed so serious, so focused. I thought you'd be intimidating. And now, she grinned. Now I know you're just a secret nerd who gets emotional about load-bearing walls. I laughed. Really laughed. For the first time in weeks. That's fair. Outside of work, I started reclaiming pieces of myself I'd lost. I joined a gym, not to look good for anyone else, but because I needed to feel strong again. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected during my relationship with Elena. I started cooking, something I'd loved before but had stopped doing because Elena preferred ordering in. And I set boundaries. Elena's messages still came, but I blocked her number. When mutual friends tried to relay her apologies, I told them firmly that I wasn't interested. You're doing remarkably well, Dr. Reyes said during one session. But I have to ask, do you feel any desire for revenge? I considered the question. Sometimes, when I think about all the lies, I want her to hurt like I did. That's natural. But mostly, I just want to move on. Revenge would mean she still has power over me. I'm done giving her that. A week later, Rachel texted me again. Rachel, thought you should know. Derek's wife found out about the affair. Apparently someone sent her screenshots. Marcus. Who? Rachel. I don't know. But Amanda Sullivan is filing for divorce. And she's going after Derek's company. It's getting ugly. I stared at the message for a long time. Karma, it seemed, was handling things on its own. I didn't feel satisfaction. Not exactly. But there was a quiet sense of justice settling into my chest. I texted back a simple, "Thanks for letting me know." Then I put my phone away and went back to my blueprints. The past was finally starting to feel like the past. Chapter 7. The Unraveling. The news about Derek Sullivan spread fast. Amanda, his wife, wasn't just filing for divorce. As co-founder of Nexus Innovations, she was initiating legal proceedings that threatened to tear the company apart. Investor meetings turned into damage control sessions. Board members started jumping ship. Rachel kept me updated, though I didn't ask her to. Rachel, Derek's losing investors left and right. Apparently, infidelity clauses in some of his contracts are being triggered. Rachel. Elena's been calling him nonstop. He won't answer. Rachel. She got let go from her job. They said restructuring, but everyone knows it's because of the scandal. I read the messages but didn't respond. This wasn't my fight anymore. Then, unexpectedly, Vanessa Blake showed up at my office. I barely recognized her at first. Gone was the smug confidence I remembered from Elena's parties. She looked tired. Worn. "Can we talk?" she asked, standing in my doorway. "Please." We walked to the same rooftop where Sophie had helped me find my calm months ago. "I'm not here to ask for forgiveness," Vanessa said. "I don't deserve it." "Then why are you here?" "Because I need you to know that I'm sorry. I helped Elena hide everything. I thought it was harmless, just a fling, you know? She was bored, Derek was exciting, and you." She trailed off. "I was what?" "You were safe, stable. Elena always said you'd never leave her, no matter what." Vanessa's voice broke. "I told myself that made it okay. That you'd never know, so it wouldn't hurt you. But I did find out." "Yeah." She wiped her eyes. "And watching what it did to you, what it did to everyone, I realized we were monsters. Elena especially. She didn't care about anyone but herself." "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because Elena's spiraling, and I can't be there for her anymore. Not after everything." Vanessa looked at me directly. "She never loved Derek. She loved what he represented. And she never appreciated you. She just used you." "I know. Do you? Because you seem okay. More than okay. You seem good." I thought about it. "I am good. Getting better every day." "I'm glad." She stepped back. "I won't bother you again. I just needed you to know the truth. All of it." After she left, my phone buzzed. "Elena, I know you blocked me, but I'm using Vanessa's phone. Please, Marcus, I need to see you. Derek won't talk to me. I lost my job. I have nothing. Please." I stared at the message. 2 months ago, this would have destroyed me. I would have rushed to her side, desperate to fix everything, to be the hero she never deserved. Now I felt nothing but emptiness. Not anger, not satisfaction, just nothing. Marcus, I'll meet you. Once. For closure. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. The coffee shop on Maple. I wasn't doing this for her. I was doing it for me. It was time to close this chapter for good. Chapter 8. The final conversation. The coffee shop on Maple Street was where Elena and I had our first date. She was already there when I arrived, sitting in the same booth where, 5 years ago, she'd laughed at my nervous jokes and made me feel like the luckiest man alive. She looked different now. Thinner. The designer clothes replaced with a simple sweater. Dark circles under her eyes that no makeup could hide. Marcus. She stood when she saw me, reaching out. Thank you for coming. I sat across from her, keeping the table between us. Say what you need to say. She took a shaky breath. I made the worst mistake of my life. I know that now. Derek was, I don't even know what he was. An escape? A fantasy? But you were real. You were everything. Then why wasn't I enough? I don't know. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I was selfish. I was stupid. I took you for granted because I thought you'd always be there. And now I have nothing. Her voice cracked. Derek won't even look at me. He blamed me when Amanda found out. Said I was the one who pursued him, that I ruined his marriage. My job is gone. My friends won't talk to me. Even Rachel barely speaks to me anymore. I listened without speaking. I know I don't deserve a second chance, she continued. But I love you, Marcus. I always have. Everything with Derek was a mistake. You're the only one I ever really wanted. You're right, I said quietly. You don't deserve a second chance. She flinched. But I didn't come here to hurt you. I leaned forward. I came here because I needed you to understand something. What? I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. I showed her a photo, the engagement ring, sitting on my nightstand. I was going to propose that night, I said. Our anniversary. The night you told me you were too busy. Her face crumbled. Marcus. I had reservations at Lucia's. I had a speech prepared. I was going to tell you that you were the love of my life and ask you to spend forever with me. I put the phone away. While I was practicing that speech, you were with him. I didn't know. Would it have mattered? She couldn't answer. I spent months hating you, I said. Hating myself for not seeing the signs. Wondering what I did wrong. Why I wasn't enough. I paused. But I've realized something. Your cheating wasn't about me. It was about you. Your emptiness. Your inability to appreciate what was right in front of you. Marcus, please. I forgive you. She looked up, shocked. Not for your sake. For mine. I stood up. I can't carry this anger forever. It's too heavy. So I'm letting it go. I'm letting you go. What am I supposed to do now? That's not my problem anymore. I put money on the table for my coffee. Goodbye, Elena. Marcus, wait. I stopped at the door and looked back. She was standing now, tears streaming down her face. Do you think you'll ever love anyone the way you loved me? I considered the question. I think I'll love someone better. Because next time, I'll choose someone who deserves it. I walked out into the afternoon sun. The air smelled like rain, and the clouds were breaking apart to reveal patches of blue. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Chapter 9, New Beginnings. 6 months passed. The Morrison Cultural Center opened to critical acclaim. Standing in the main atrium during the launch party, surrounded by soaring columns and light that poured through skylights I designed, I felt something I hadn't experienced in a long time. Pride. You did it, Sophie said, appearing beside me with 2 glasses of champagne. This is incredible. We did it, I corrected. Your team's work on the Eastern Wing was the heart of this project. She smiled, that quiet smile that I'd grown to look forward to every day, always deflecting. Can't you just accept a compliment? Where's the fun in that? Mr. Harrison approached with a handshake. Marcus, spectacular work. This is going to put the firm on the map. Thank you, sir. I'm promoting you to senior associate. Effective immediately. I blinked. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Say you'll keep designing buildings like this one. He clapped my shoulder. You've earned this. James and Mom arrived an hour later. Mom cried when she saw the building, dabbing her eyes with a tissue she'd stuffed in her purse. Your father would have been so proud, she said. I'm so proud. James hugged me tight. Look at you, little brother. Building empires. It's just a cultural center. It's a statement. He pulled back. You're back, Marcus. Really back. Later that evening, the crowds thinned. Sophie and I found ourselves alone on the rooftop terrace. Can I tell you something? She asked, leaning against the railing. Always. She turned to face me. These past 6 months. Working with you, getting to know you, I've developed feelings for you. My heart skipped. I know you've been through a lot, she continued quickly, and I completely understand if you're not ready. I'm not asking for anything. I just couldn't keep pretending anymore. I looked at her kind eyes and nervous hands, at the way she'd stood by me through the worst months of my life without asking for anything in return. I'm scared, I admitted. After Elena, trusting someone again feels impossible. I know, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel something too. Her breath caught. I can't promise I'll be perfect, I said. I'm still healing, still figuring things out. But if you're willing to be patient with me, I'm not asking you to jump, she said softly, taking my hand. I'm asking you to take one step. I looked down at our intertwined fingers. Her hand was warm, steady. One step, I repeated. I think I can do that. She smiled, and something inside me that had been frozen for months began to thaw. We stayed on that rooftop until the stars came out, talking about everything and nothing. For the first time in a long time, the future didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a promise. Chapter 10. Walking away was walking toward myself. 1 year. That's how long it had been since the night Kevin called me. Since I stood outside the velvet room and watched my world collapse. I was standing on that same rooftop terrace of the cultural center now, but everything else had changed. Sophie was beside me, her head resting on my shoulder. We'd been together for 4 months, taking it slow, learning each other's rhythms. She didn't try to fix me. She just loved me, broken pieces and all. James had flown in for the anniversary celebration. He was downstairs, flirting badly with one of the catering staff. Mom had called earlier, reminding me to wear a proper suit and to stop working so much. Some things never changed. Rachel had reached out last week with news I hadn't asked for but somehow needed to hear. Elena moved to Seattle. She tried to get back together with Derek after his divorce was finalized, but he wanted nothing to do with her. He called her a liability. She's starting over somewhere new. I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't feel vindication. I just felt quiet. Dr. Reyes and I had ended our sessions 2 months ago. In our final meeting, she'd asked me what I'd learned. That my worth isn't determined by whether someone else sees it, I said. That walking away wasn't giving up. It was choosing myself. She'd smiled. You're going to be okay, Marcus. And I was. Sophie stirred beside me. What are you thinking about? The past year. How different everything is. Good different. I turned to look at her. At this woman who had seen me at my worst and stayed anyway. Who challenged me and laughed with me and made ordinary moments feel extraordinary. The best different, I said. Below us, the city sparkled with a million lights. Somewhere out there, people were falling in love, breaking apart, rebuilding themselves from the wreckage of their worst days. I'd been all of them. A year ago, I thought Elena's betrayal was the end of my story. I thought I'd never trust again, never love again, never feel whole again. I was wrong. Her betrayal wasn't the end. It was a door, painful and ugly, but a door nonetheless. When I walked through it, I found something I'd lost along the way. Myself. I squeezed Sophie's hand. You know what I realized? What? When Elena said she was too busy for me but made time for him, I thought the problem was me. that I wasn't enough. I shook my head. But the truth is, I was always enough. I was just enough for the wrong person. Sophie kissed my cheek. You're enough for me. I know. And finally, I believed it. James appeared on the terrace, slightly disheveled. There you two are. They're about to do the toast. Something about the visionary architect or whatever. That's my cue. I stood, pulling Sophie up with me. Ready. Always. We walked back inside together, toward the lights, the celebration, the future I'd built from the ashes of my old life. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring. More challenges, probably. More moments of doubt. Healing isn't a straight line. Dr. Reyes had taught me that. But for the first time in my life, I wasn't running from myself. I wasn't defining myself through someone else's eyes. I was just me, flawed and healing and enough.